We're talking about Mediclinic. Now remember, this is South Africa's largest private healthcare group, but it is now its most global player as well, because they've expanded into Switzerland significantly about a decade ago. And then they went into the United Arab Emirates. Most recently, they flopped a listing into the London market. So now they are LSE listed and reporting in pounds. That was of the takeover of Noor, which also had operations in the Middle East. They've acquired also a UK healthcare group called Spire. That's only a 30% stake. So market capitalization, 142.1 billion rand. Price to earnings ratio 37.97, although the numbers have all been jumbled up because of the short term. We'll talk about that. Also dividend yield. I guess if you take the old dividend yield and look at the current price and do the flip-flop, it's about 0.6%.
Look, watch out for the numbers here. Noor was bought virtually at the year end. Or the reverse listing was done virtually at the year end. So there's no, I think there's actually zero Noor profits in that number, but yet, you know, the number of shares in issue and all of these things are as per after the merger. So watch out for that 35 PE. It's hard to say, but I think a more correct number is probably 20 or 18 to 20 PE, which is still relatively high.
That's on a normalized assumption of what we think the earnings could be converted into pounds, and we know the exchange rate has changed a lot.
Now, the Swiss operation, for two reasons, has been the star here. Even though it's smaller than it's actually quite significantly smaller than the SA operations.
In terms of turnover or beds or whatever.
SA's got 8,000 beds. I think Switzerland's got 1,200 beds. But margins are massive, and of course the Swiss franc has been the best currency in the world.
Lots of rich people in Switzerland.
Lots of rich people there, and the currency has been fantastic. So when you look at the segment breakdown, it almost looks as though this is a Swiss company, more so than a South African company. The UAE, specifically Dubai, hasn't done badly at all
and it's getting some scale now.
Yes, with Noor, it doubles the size.
Wealthy people there too.
It actually doubles the size. So they seem to be in all the right places. The biggest danger, I think, going forward is what the rand's going to do and what the Swiss franc is going to do.
Yeah, because they report in pounds and they're listed in London, but they're one of those companies that went up initially after Brexit because of the assumption that they're going to make more pounds as these rands and Swiss francs get reported, but then it sort of wobbled a bit. Share price, let's have a look at it. It's around 200 rand a share. But here we go. It's another case where exactly this point Wayne has just made is you don't really know what the future earnings are going to be because you need a full cycle of reporting.
Correct. And of course, even though they report in pounds, the South African investors obviously still earn rands, and the pound has weakened. So even though, when you translate into pounds with the weak pounds, the rand earnings go up in pound, but then of course you just take it all back when you come back to South Africa. So there's no question whatsoever that all of these hospital groups with global interests in a stronger rand environment, earnings growth is not going to be like it was the previous year, and in some cases it could be significantly down.
What about the UK operation? Because Spire. They bought this thing called Spire and they paid quite a lot of money for it, and it's like a specialist healthcare provider. It's also got some sort of sports medicine places.
I mean, we'll talk about it later.
Talk was that they were going to acquire the rest. It's listed.
But they've only got 29.9% of it. I don't know whether they're going to get any more. But the UK operations is interesting. Well, the UK medical field is interesting. NHS is still the dominant player there by a country mile. And everyone was anticipating, because of long lead times and I don't know if it's poor service, but probably deteriorating service by the NHS, that a lot of people would go into private medical, and they haven't.
So it's both private health insurance, like with Discovery, and then it's going into private. So most of these guys are surviving doing a little bit of that work and then also doing work for NHS.
Or they do 50% of their turnover. Well, a lot of the UK operations, 50%, if not more of the turnover is NHS. Now the problem is NHS doesn't pay you anything. I mean, they've had 2-3 months ago, had a 1% increase in the fees they pay, which is the first time in 7 years that it's gone up. So the margins are less than half of a person on NHS versus a person on private.
So you really only do that work to keep yourself busy.
You keep the beds full, but at the moment that's the only growth area. You know, the private healthcare. But
then it sounds like it's a good thing they're not going to buy any more of that group.
You know, maybe if it gets cheap enough, you can buy it. But everyone who went into the UK went in on the basis that people would swap out of NHS into private, and there's actually been very stagnant. There's been no growth.
And I guess the Brexit thing doesn't help. Okay, but now we have to look at this and decide whether to go hot or not. Now we own Netcare. I mean, not Netcare, Mediclinic. So what do we do about the Mediclinics?
Look, I think we hold it. I have sold some down. Mainly on the view on the rand story, I have sold it down, but this is a premier company. Let's wait for the next results. I'll go hot on it, but if the next results come out and the people are a bit disappointed when they see what it is after the pound weakness.
And I'm trying to think now, do we know when the next results are? On top of my head,
they're a March reporting period.
So that means we'll get something for a September interim
in October, November, we'll get a trading update or whatever. Yes.
Anyway, we've gone on too long, but we're hot on that one. Next.